Good morning, lovelies, and welcome to another video by me, Charlotte. Yes, admin of the group. I don't know what I'm saying ever. I just thought I'd jump in. I've had this page done for a little while now. I did this after I did the, whatever I called it, stack card, which I don't actually have any samples of. I think I've sent them all out, which is awesome. But I did this as a page. So for those of you who are not card makers, who are only scrapbookers, or for those of you who dabble in scrapbooking, it's time to learn how to make this page. What you need is 3 sheets of black cardstock and 1 sheet of white. You need a stamp. Now I'm using this stamp here, which is actually the In Full Bloom card making stamp. It does come with a die, or you can just buy it as a stamp. It's a really nice stamp. I'll show you what the die does. So you stamp one and then you stamp the other one. But you can, as you see, you can just stamp one side of that. So that's the stamp that I'm using. As I said, you can use any stamp pretty much. Obviously you need a block, you need some ink. I'm just going with the black theme. You need a trimmer. You definitely need a trimmer. Now, a rotary trimmer will not cut it. You do need a trimmer with a V blade, and I'll show you the Fiskars one that I've got. So let's see if we can get it to focus. So see how that's got a V blade, and you'll see why you need that when we get to cutting. Now with this page, what you need is to, first of all, and I've already done this so you don't have to put up with me doing that, you need the 3 sheets of black cardstock. You need one cut down, well, no, you need one cut down to 12 by 12. Yeah, good on you, Charlotte. Okay, you need a 12 by 12. Then you need one cut down to 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. Another one cut down to 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. And your white, which you only need 1 sheet of white, you need it at 11.5 by 11.5. All right, so this is how we do it. Take this away. I've already got, once I'm going to put that in my mess, I've already got my pieces of black cut down. So I'm just going to show you that. So there's my 12 by 12 on top. I love my Versamat because it means that I can just check all the sizes. So there's my 12 by 12. My next is 10, hopefully I've cut it right. Yes, 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. And finally I have 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. And then my white, this one here, should be 11.5 by 11.5, and it is perfect. So then what I'm going to do is just flip my Versamat over, because this side is squishy. So on the squishy side, I'm going to place my white cardstock and I'm going to stamp on this, and it's going to give me a beautiful image. Now, normally I've got it all set up and ready to go, but I just wanted to show you, it's a bit of a reminder for some, and maybe as some new learning for others. When you have a stamp, some of our stamps can shift, shape shifters. They can shift when you're putting them on the block. So I always like to put my stamp onto the back of my Versamat, or something that's not sticky. So the back of the Versamat's not sticky. Also the foam that you get inside the stamp, that tends not to be sticky. I put that down so it can form its shape. Then I get my block with the close to my heart facing me. I then block it up. Now I kind of roll it onto the stamp, or at least I start to stick. I'll turn it over and then I push it onto the stamp. The reason for that is so I don't get any air bubbles underneath my stamp, which can affect my stamping. And then I season my stamp. Now I tend to just either tap it on the back of my arm or rub it on the back of my arm. And the reason I do that is just in case there's some sort of chemical on there that's going to interact with my ink. I don't want that happening. Now I do that, I always absolutely do it with a brand new stamp, but I even do it with a stamp that I have used a couple of times. For those of you who are watching live, thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who are watching on the replay, feel free to comment #replay. Let me know that you saw the video. Give me some hearts if you like it. If you've got any questions, please ask away. All right, then when I'm inking up my stamp, I used to stack it on top of the base. So I'd stack it because I didn't have much room. And what I found was that it was dipping in the middle. So now I'd put it flat onto a surface and I just ink it. Now, hopefully that's not moving the camera because I've set my camera up slightly differently. So I ink it. Now this is, you can see this is all lines. If there were solid pieces, I would actually do my twist. But because this is lines, I should be right to just do tapping, making sure I'm picking up lots and lots of juicy ink. Now I'm just going to refer to my other page, and it does take a little bit to get the spacing right sometimes. Doesn't matter if you go over the edge of your over the edge of the page, but with this one I really didn't want to. Apart from anything, I don't have any scratch paper underneath, so I'm going to go along the top, and I want to try and get as close to the edge as I can. Push down, hold for about 3 to 5 seconds, and that just allows the ink to soak into the paper, so you again getting the best image that you can, just with medium pressure on there. And there's my first one. I also find the more I stamp, so with the same stamp, the more I ink it up and then stamp it again, the clearer an image I get. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just ink up my stamp, I'll stamp it off onto some scratch paper, and then I'll stamp onto my project, and that way I've kind of avoided the first one. I just need to look at this one. I think I actually went up a little bit. I've avoided the first bit of maybe it doesn't ink up quite as well as I'd like it to. All right, there's number 2. See how this one, it's a little bit scratchy and this one's come up clearer. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Some of this will be covered by the black. So again, inking it up, making sure I've got it nicely inked up and juicy. And I do also have my stamp chamois close by, ready for me to clean my stamp. So it only just fits. This particular stamp only just fits along here. There we go. And then rather than trying to stamp it down the bottom, I'm actually just going to rotate my page and stamp like this. Now, if you had a directional stamp, obviously you want to be aware of that. You could stamp this with words or anything. This is the boring bit. So again, try and get it as close to the edge of my paper as possible. Two more. Hopefully you're having a nice morning so far. I got up early this morning to take Josh off to work. Don't ask me why I had to take him off to work. And now I thought I'm going to come out into my craft room. To be quite honest, I'm not even dressed. I have a dressing gown on, but do you know what? No one's coming around, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just crafting in my dressing gown. I've had my couple of glasses of water. My stomach's not awake yet. So I'm not hungry, is what that means. All right, is this one going to fit better? Yes and no. Okay, there we go. So when I first started doing this one, I did actually think, oh, maybe I could go all the way around. And then I really liked just the top and bottom effect. So I stopped there. All right, that should be right. Now I'm just going to clean this with a stamp chamois because I do like to try and keep my stamps nice and clean. You can just stamp it off on some scratch paper. As I said before, I don't have any handy at the moment. So that's nice and clean. And I do also try and put my stamps straight back on the carrier sheet, but that's okay. I'll do that after the video. Promise, Mum, promise. Okay, so that's it. That's all stamped up. I don't have to wait for that to dry or anything, but what I did want to do is just show you with this one, the next thing that you could do if you wanted. If you notice, this one's very white. whereas this one has got splatters. Now, I'm not going to show the splatters in this particular video. I'm going to go into some techniques you can do with shimmer brushes, because a few of you have started buying shimmer brushes. So I'm going to show you techniques with shimmer brushes in another video. You can splatter it now. With this one, what I did was I actually splattered it after the fact. So you'll notice that these bits here are not splattered. It's only this one. So you splatter after you've cut, which we're about to do. Cut, that is, we're about to cut. Okay, so the next step in this process is cutting. And this, hopefully you've seen this technique before, but if you haven't, this is a really exciting technique to learn. What we're going to do is, again, with our Fiskars 12-inch trimmer, must be a 12-inch trimmer, and this is why we need the V-blade. We're actually going to line up the right-hand side of our page with the 1/2 inch mark at the top. The reason why we do it from the top is because our arm of our trimmer, I have to think of all the names, the arm of our trimmer has measurements down the side. I might just bring that up. Flip that over, put that under there, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So see on here, we've got measurements. So that's on, it starts at 0 and goes down. And we need them for this technique, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut the center out of this page twice. So we line it up with 1/2, line up with 1/2 inch, and then we don't drop the blade all the way down. I'm just holding it up with my finger. I'm bringing my blade, and again, I'll just hold this up because it's, with this blade, hopefully you can see there's a line that goes straight through here, and then there's a line that goes down this way. These show you exactly where the tip of that V is. So the tip of the V is right smack bang in the middle there. So if I line this up with the 1/2 inch mark, and obviously this is on the cutting area, it means it's going to start cutting at that 1/2 inch mark. Okay, so that's the explanation. Let's just do it. So we go 1/2 inch, make sure it's nice and straight. Start this down at 1/2 inch. I'm glad my eyes have not completely failed me yet. And what we want to do is cut from the 1/2 inch mark to 1/2 inch from the bottom. So if I'm looking at this, this goes down to 11.5. I want to stop at 11 inches. So we press down. That now has pierced the paper, and I just go slice. When I get down to about 10 inches, I slow right down. I go slowly down to 11 inches, and then I stop. Lift the blade, and I've only cut from 1/2 inch down to 11 inches. I can now rotate my page, line it up again with 1/2 inch, make sure it's nice and straight. Now I haven't moved my blade, so I know that's sitting at 11 inches. I can pop that straight back down, press to engage it, and then come back up, slow down about 1/2 inch away, and go nice and slowly up to the 1/2 inch mark. Lift my blade, rotate, again, hopefully, I only went up to the 1/2 inch mark, engage, and come down to 11 inches. There we go. One more cut, 1/2 inch, down we go, and then up to 1/2 inch. And now it may not completely drop out, okay? And if it doesn't, what we can do is just grab a sharp pair of scissors and give it a bit of a snip. I mean, you can just tear it out, but I really don't want to tear it out. So there's one. With a rotary blade, you're kind of guessing at where that's going to cut. because you don't have an exact point that you're going to drop the blade down to. That's why I'm saying with the Fiskars V blade, it's the better choice for this particular project. So that's what we've got. We now have the border and the inside. And how this works, ladies, is we take our 12-inch base. So this is just my pieces stacked. Our 12-inch base, and that will go down on there. So I'll put some adhesive around. Now the beautiful thing is this is 1/2 inch. Our tape runners, this adhesive is just under 1/2 inch wide. So that is perfect because it's just a really easy zip, zip, zip around. And then this will sit on top and you can square that up. So even if you did sort of wreck your corners here, it's not going to matter so much for the inside corners, but it will matter for your outside corners because these corners are going to show up. As you can see here, these are going to show up, but we still need to cut one more. Now you could leave it at that. If you really wanted to, you could just do a double layer. That looks really pretty as well, but I'm going to go to match my page and I'm going to go for another layer. So again, open this up, 1/2 inch in. Now this is smaller than the last piece. And again, I'm just making sure that this is straight down the 1/2 inch. So I can use my ruler down the side of the arm. This is now 10.5 inches. So I only want to come down to 10 inches. So checking that's at 1/2 inch, engage that, come down to about 9, and then bring the trimmer blade down to 10 and lift. Rotate, line it up. That's still at 10. It's actually just under 10, but I'd prefer to go just under 10 than just over. Take that up to 1/2. Rotate, line it up. Bring it down to 10. Rotate, 1/2. And up to 1/2 again. So I'd love to know if any of you are going to try this technique. Either stacking your pieces to make a scrapbooking page, or are you going to try cutting? A good thing about learning the cutting technique is that, and obviously I'm just going to make sure that I do have this up the right way. A good thing about learning the cutting technique is you can actually use it now to save your paper. So if you have, say you have a piece of, or a page that you're doing, and it shows that you're only going to have a very thin border. So you're going to cut something down, stick it on top. You've got all that paper underneath that's wasted. What you can now do is actually cut the middle out of that and save it and use it on another project. So I'm just going to take that up. So this is our 12 by 12. Then we've got our 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. I'm now getting my 9 3/4 by 9 3/4, laying that on the top. And then we pop this one on the top of that. And it's finished. It's all done. Now that's quite a small area to put photos on, but I'll show you in a second my ideas. I'm starting to print my 6x4 photos up as a 2x2, so I get 3x4 photos because I've just got so many of them. I want them actually fitting on a page. That would be really nice actually for a 5x7 photo too. I also wanted to show you, so this is it just as white, and this is it with the shimmer brush splatter. So I've just used a black shimmer brush and I've splattered on it, and it just takes away from that really stark whiteness. So this is what I was going to do. I'm going to put that one back because I will be splattering this one as well. So that's my topper. And this was my idea. I'm actually going to put 2 3x4 photos on there, and that gives me room for a title as well. So that's going to be one of my pages. I have no idea how I'm going to lay out my other page, but that's a start. So there you go, girls. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Show me some hearts if you did. Love to see what your projects are, how they work out, and yeah, keep tuning in. I will see you tomorrow as well for a card technique. I can actually give you a bit of a, I think I'm doing this one, aren't I? Yes, I'm doing this one. So these are some of the cards that I made. They started off like this, little pocket cards. I'm showing you how to make these cards tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow, don't know what time, sometime in the morning, to show you how to make them. Otherwise, have a great day, stay safe, keep crafting, and bye for now.